My sister insisted I look after her three little monsters while they traveled first class on the $12,000 family vacation I funded. Then my mom declared, "Son, perhaps someday you'll earn the right to join us on our vacations," I stated. "I'm not your nanny." My sister included, "Contribute or depart." So I left and initiated action. Nobody anticipated what would occur next. $12,000. That's what I paid for my family's dream vacation. A trip I wasn't even invited on. And then, they showed up at my door, dumping their kids on me, demanding free babysitting, and had the audacity to say, "Maybe someday you'll earn the right to join us." What would you do when pushed that far? Because I closed the door. And everything changed. For as long as I can remember, I've been Henry. You know, the oldest. The steady one. The fixer. The guy who never, ever says no. I manage a big box store on the night shift. I'm the kind of person who knows exactly how many pallets fit down aisle 9, and exactly which teenager is going to call out 5 minutes before their shift starts. I'm the guy who handles it. That Saturday morning, it started like a bomb going off. My sister, she wasn't knocking, she was pounding on my door like I was late for a 5-alarm fire. Didn't even wait for a hello. She just burst in, tossed a diaper bag onto my sofa like it was a hot potato, and declared, "You're babysitting the monsters while we head to the airport." Monsters? Her 3 kids. I just blinked, utterly speechless. The what? She was already texting, not even looking at me. "You know, the monsters? Quit pretending you don't love them." And right behind her, my mom glided in, a storm front in human form, wearing that specific, pinched expression she gets when something is already, irrevocably, decided. She looked me dead in the eye. "Son," she said, her voice sharp and bright, "maybe someday you'll earn the right to join us on vacations. For now, just do your part." I just stood there, in my own doorway, in my own paid-off sneakers, trying to make sense of the whirlwind that had just landed in my living room. "The $12,000 family vacation," I said, almost a whisper, "the one I paid for." My sister didn't even look up from her phone. Her thumb kept scrolling. "Flights go up if you drag your feet, Henry." I looked at the kids. Shoes on the wrong feet. Sticky faces. A tablet blasting cartoons, screen cracked. My living room already smelled like grape juice and a faint, rising panic. "I manage a store. I tried again. I work tonight." My mom just looked at me like I'd just told a really bad joke at a funeral. "You can swap. You always swap." "I swapped last week," I said, my voice tight. "For your dentist appointment." "That was different," she dismissed. I took a deep, shaky breath. "I'm not your sitter." Finally, my sister looked up from her phone, her eyes dead flat. "Step up," she said, like an HR manager giving a final warning, "or get out." I stared at her, at my mom, at the diaper bag, already bleeding wipes onto my sofa. And then I saw it, the text preview on my sister's phone. "First class upgrade confirmed." Something in my chest just clicked. It wasn't loud. It wasn't hot. It was just profoundly, utterly done. "Okay," I said, my voice surprisingly steady. "I'll get out." Nobody saw what happened next. Not them. Not even me, really. But that first click in my head, it was quiet. And it was absolutely final. I picked up that diaper bag, holding it with just 2 fingers, and placed it back into my sister's arms. "Find another sitter," I said. And then, I closed the door. On the only family I'd ever had. Look, I didn't become the responsible one because I loved rules or spreadsheets. I became him because someone had to. Someone had to cook dinner when dad dipped out for good. Someone had to sign for packages when mom worked double shifts and just forgot. My sister? Bright, wild, beautiful, utterly allergic to consequences. She was always the crisis of the hour. I was the one who held everything together. I bagged groceries at 16 to keep the lights on. At 20, I was sleeping in my car, juggling community college and a warehouse job. When I was 28, I took the graveyard manager gig. You know, that extra $250 an hour. It meant my sister could finish her medical billing certificate. I covered deposits, phone bills, emergencies that mysteriously looked like new lash extensions, even her winter trip to Miami. Every single time I hesitated, mom would hit me with, "You're the man of the house, Henry." And then, when I did it, that's what family is. The thing about being the man of the house, though, you never, ever get to be the son. 2 years ago, my sister had her 3rd baby. The dad? A motorcycle and a disappearing act. So I stepped in. I installed car seats. Built a crib at 3 a.m. on my only night off. Figured out which formula wouldn't make the middle kid scream. Fixed their broken dryer with parts from a junker behind the store. I never complained out loud. I even kept a meticulous spreadsheet of every single penny I transferred, every bill I'd covered. Named it family. Never sent it. I told myself I didn't need recognition. I told myself that not needing it made me strong. Then, out of the blue, my sister texts, "Big family vacation idea. We deserve it." The group chat exploded. Auntie heart reacted. My cousin sent a beach gif. And Mom, "Henry can book it," she wrote. "He's good at computers." I shouldn't have answered. But she caught me, you know, between a vendor call and a pallet break at work. So I just said, "Just hold the rooms." Mom promised, "We'll pay you back after taxes." After taxes became after summer. After summer became, "Stop pressuring us, Henry." Money isn't everything. In the end, the grand total was $11,742.68. Flights, the hotel, a suite with a balcony for the littles. I told myself it was fine. I told myself that seeing them happy on a beach would be worth the overtime migraines. I told myself they would remember. What they remembered was that I was a wallet. The week before they were supposed to fly, my sister called me at 6:12 a.m. "I need you to watch the kids the day we leave," she said, like it was a pre-scheduled meeting I'd already agreed to. "We're hitting the lounge early. Free mimosas. I work nights," I told her, trying to keep my voice even. "I sleep mornings. I've told you this 100 times. Sleep when you're dead," she snapped. "We're flying across the country with 3 toddlers. Be a brother." Before I could even sip my coffee, Mom called. "Don't make things hard, Henry," she said. "If you'd settled down by now, you'd understand how much your sister needs help. She does everything alone." Oh, the line that burned my throat. The one I swallowed. She doesn't do it alone. I do it with her. I didn't bring up the Nintendo Switch I bought with my bonus so her kids wouldn't be left out. Or the time I left work during inventory to pick up her oldest from preschool because she'd forgotten. Or the Valentine's weekend I spent sleeping on her couch so she could feel 21 again. I just mumbled, "We'll figure it out." In our family, that was code for Henry will handle it. 2 days before the flight, I opened our family chat. A photo. My sister's luggage, all rose gold matching suitcases with monogram tags, lined up at her door. I stared at it while my microwave shrieked, impatient with the cup noodles I'd been eating way too often. I read the caption twice. "First class upgrade, manifesting good times." I opened my banking app, scrolled past the resort charge. The flight upgrades weren't on my card. Okay, cool. Maybe her child support finally kicked in. Maybe Mom helped. Then I saw the payment history. Cash transfers to my sister, dating back to March. 300, 450, 150, 200. Each one captioned with the same, infuriating lie. "I'll pay you back when we file taxes." This was July. Later that night, on a break, I stood in the back hallway by the dented Pepsi machine. I watched the security camera feed of some teenage shelf stalkers making TikToks on the loading dock. I probably should have told my assistant to crack down, but I couldn't bring myself to care. I was just thinking about 12 grand. About manifesting while my sheets smelled like stale coffee. About how those little debts, those favors, they turn into a story your family tells about you. He loves to help. He never says no. The morning of their flight, they showed up at 7:42 a.m. Like a scheduled delivery I hadn't agreed to. My sister had a fresh blowout and perfect white nails. My mom was wearing a visor and that special perfume she only saves for weddings. "You're a lifesaver," my sister chirped, pushing right past me. They're already fed. And look, I won't lie. The kids were adorable. The oldest ran straight for my fridge, yelling, "Pickles," like we were doing a comedy bit. The baby, he grabbed my beard with his entire tiny fist and gurgled, "Hen." The middle one climbed onto my sofa, declared it a ship, me the ocean, and that I should be quiet. For a second, I almost softened. Almost. Then Mom dropped the line she'd clearly been saving. "Son, maybe someday you'll earn the right to join us on vacations." Earn. The word hit me like a physical blow. I looked at the 3 matching suitcases. At the 3 sweet, chaotic kids. At the diaper bag on my couch, still silently bleeding wipes and demands. At my sister's phone, its lock screen bright with the words "first class." And that quiet, gentle lock. It clicked again. "I'm not your sitter," I said. My sister didn't flinch. She smirked. "Step up or get out." I got out. I picked up that diaper bag, placed it in her arms, and nodded towards the door. "Airport's that way." Mom's voice sharpened, cold and warning. "Don't test us, Henry." I just held her gaze. I already passed. The door clicked shut behind them. The silence that followed, it was a new kind of loud. My apartment felt bigger. And also, incredibly empty. I stood there, listening to my own breathing, the hum of my old fridge, waiting for the familiar wave of guilt to crash over me. But it didn't. Not yet. Instead, I opened my laptop, pulled up that spreadsheet I called family, and I scrolled through the 12,000 reasons why I was finally, utterly done. Then I opened a new tab. I titled it Boundaries. I didn't know what the plan was yet. I just knew I was about to need one. They came back. 5 minutes later. Furious. And much, much louder. My sister shoved the door open so hard it bounced off the stopper. "You're really going to do this?" she shrieked. "After everything I've done for you?" I just blinked. "Like what?" She opened and closed her mouth 3 times. Who took care of you when you had the flu last year?" "I door-dashed soup," I replied flatly. Mom stepped forward. "Enough. We don't have time for this. Henry, put your shoes on and do as your mother asks." "I'm 33, I said. "Exactly," she shot back. "Start acting like it." I looked at the kids again. Big, wide, innocent eyes. None of this was their fault. I love them. "I'll help," I said, softer now. "Next time, with notice. But today? No." "Wow," my sister drawled, dragging the word out like sticky gum. "Maybe someday you'll earn the right to be part of a family." There it was again. Earn. I walked to my coffee table, picked up the printouts from the booking site. I'd tucked them under a magazine, just because I couldn't stand to look at them. I held them up. $12,000, I said. From my card. Booked under my login. Chosen by you. You said you'd pay me back after taxes. My sister rolled her eyes so hard it was a workout. We will. Tax season ended, I said. So did spring. And so did my patience. Mom's mouth thinned into a hard line. Money isn't everything, Henry. It is, I countered. When the person who paid for something isn't even invited to use the thing he paid for. Silence. The kids shifted nervously. The baby chewed on his shirt. My sister took a step toward me. You're being so dramatic. I kept my voice even, controlled. Here's what's going to happen. You're taking your kids with you. You're going to the airport. I am not watching them today. And when you get home, we are going to review our finances like adults. My mom laughed. A short, sharp, dismissive sound. Who do you think you are? A banker? A manager? I said. Who can do math? My sister lifted her chin, defiant. Step up or get out. My throat felt dry. My hands, though, they didn't shake. I walked to the door and held it wide open. Okay, I said. Get out. That was the moment. The flip. The emotion just drained right out of me, and cold, hard logic moved in. I felt exactly how I do when the delivery truck is late, and I have to redo an entire floor set in 3 hours. Focused. Cold. Steady. Fine. My sister snapped, jerking the diaper bag higher on her shoulder. We'll figure it out. Don't beg me to bring you a magnet. They stomped out. Mom lingered. Her eyes narrowed. You'll regret this, Henry. I regret a lot. I told her, my voice flat. Not this. She gave me that look. The one that used to shrink me back to being a 13-year-old boy. But it just bounced off. The door shut. The stairwell swallowed their angry footsteps. I let out one long, slow breath. Then I opened my laptop again. I wasn't angry. I was done. And being done felt like a blank piece of paper and a really good pen. I pulled up the travel reservation site. Under guest names, I read every single field twice. The suite with the balcony, the extra rollaway bed, the kids' club passes, all of it under my account. All of it changeable until midnight. That's when the real plan solidified. Simple, fair, nonviolent, legal, consequences. I started typing. Step 1, practical. I removed my card as the primary on the hotel account. Added a prepaid card with a strict limit. I left the reservation itself alone. Changed the check-in time to after 6 p.m. because, look, I can be petty, but I'm not cruel. They could still stay. They just couldn't charge room service and spa days to me. Step 2, even cleaner. I canceled the lounge access add-on. The one I bought because my sister swore the kids would melt without free muffins. The refund went right back to the original card. Mine. The app showed a spinning wheel. Then, success. Step 3, I opened the chat logs. Screenshots. We'll pay you after taxes. You're a lifesaver. He's good at computers. I saved them all to a folder. Named it receipts. I wasn't going to blast them anywhere. I just needed them. To see the story, exactly as it happened, in black and white. My phone buzzed. A text from sis. Where's the lounge code? Then mom. We're at security. Kid's tired. Send the code now. My reply was quick, calm. Lounge access canceled. Refund on my card. Have a safe flight. The typing bubble practically broke the sound barrier. Sis, what? Is this a joke? Me. No joke. We'll discuss repayment when you get back. I muted the thread. My apartment went quiet again. I made eggs. Wiped grape jelly from the sofa arm. Put cartoons on low for 2 minutes. Just because the sudden silence made the whole place feel like a rented stage after the actors had gone home. At 10:31, my aunt called. I watched it ring out. At 10:33, my cousin texted, You okay? Your mom's saying you canceled their entire trip. Did you? My reply, no. I changed who pays for extras. They're still flying to the vacation I booked. My phone felt heavy in my hand. At noon, I left for work early. There's a weird comfort in stepping into that fluorescent light, knowing exactly which end cap is missing a price tag. I signed for a paper towel delivery. Told a kid to clock back in. Normal things. A line of customers with cat litter and cereal. Nobody here knew I'd just severed the cord that tied my entire life to someone else's constant panic. Then, at 2:14 p.m., the pictures started rolling in on social media. My sister, beaming under a first-class arch. The kids, happily licking pastries. My mom, posting a shot of her hand on a champagne flute with the caption, We deserve nice things. No tags. No thanks. No mention of me. The comments were a parade. Gorgeous. So happy for you. Much needed. My stomach did that small, cold roll it does when I find out a pallet is short by 8 cases. At 4:02, the energy shifted. Sis, they're making us bored later because the kids are cranky and they can't find the lounge muffins. This is your fault. Mom, the baby spilled juice. He's sticky. This is your fault. My reply, you're their mom and grandma. Silence. I went to walk the floor. Checked the battery on the pallet jack. Helped an old man reach light bulbs. Told a teenager his break wasn't optional. It was the law. At 6:47, my phone buzzed again. Sis, where's the hotel card on file? They said there's a limit and we can't put the damage deposit on it. Me, the deposit is refundable. Put it on your card. You'll get it back. Sis, we don't have room. Transfer it. Me, no. 10 minutes. 20. Then, Henry, this is not funny. Think of the children. Me. I am. I'm also thinking of the man who paid for this trip. 3 dots. Nothing. At 9:18, my assistant manager knocked on my office door. You good? She asked. Why? You've been smiling. Close to midnight. Another text. A photo of a dark, empty airport. My sister's kids, a tangled pile of limbs, asleep on the floor. Her caption. We had to downgrade. No hotel tonight. Happy. I stared at the photo. A pang. Something like grief tried to climb up my throat. I swallowed it down. I typed. I'm sorry the kids are caught in this. You can still check in tomorrow. Let me know when you want to discuss repayment and boundaries. No answer. I closed the store. Drove home through empty streets. And that night, I slept for 5 glorious hours without waking once. The next morning, I made coffee. Opened my receipts folder. Added last night's messages. Then I did something I had never done before. I wrote out terms. Like a normal, functioning adult who wasn't raised inside a guilt machine. Repayment plan. $500 per month until the balance is 0. No more last-minute childcare. 72 hours notice, minimum. No insults. No, earn the right lines, ever. If these terms aren't respected, we pause support for 90 days. I printed it. I wasn't going to serve it like a landlord. I just needed to see it. On paper. Not just swirling in my head anymore. That afternoon, my sister's friend DM'd me a story. One I definitely wasn't supposed to see. It was my sister, in a hotel bathroom, whispering, yelling, really, at her phone. He canceled our lounge passes, she hissed into the camera. He took back his money like he owns us. He thinks he's better because he has a job. The comments were a mixed bag. Some people clapped. Some called me a jerk. But one said, sounds like he's setting boundaries. I hearted that one. Not out loud, of course. Day 2, they finally made it to the hotel. Day 3, Mom was posting sunrise photos, like nothing had even happened. Day 4, my sister uploaded a shot of the kids playing on the beach. Caption, when life knocks you down, put your toes in the sand. No mention of the man whose card that sand was charged to. Fine. I didn't need a parade. I needed a plan. On day 5, while they were still gone, I did one more thing. I moved my emergency savings to a new bank. Changed every password, even the one for the family streaming accounts. And I sent one last text. When you get back, we'll meet. Sunday, 3 p.m. My place. No kids. We'll make it concrete. Mom replied, busy. Sis, ugh. Travel day. Exhausted. Come to us. Me, no. My place. If you want my involvement, you come to my table. No answer. But I set 2 chairs anyway. Made coffee. Laid the printed terms on the table, like a menu. At 3:22 p.m., the knock came. Not dramatic. Not violent. Just there. I opened the door. Mom and my sister stood in the hallway. No kids. No suitcases. Just tired. Sunburned. My sister's mouth twitched like she wanted to fight and take a nap at the same time. Can we sit? She said, not really asking. We sat. I slid the paper to the center. What's this? My mom huffed, already offended by the font. Boundaries, I said. And a repayment plan. My sister scoffed. We told you we'd pay you back. When? I asked. She opened and closed her mouth. After taxes. It's July, I said. Silence. I spoke slowly, like I do when I need a crew of teenagers to understand why we zone in specific caps in a specific order. I'm not punishing you. I'm changing my role. I'm not the default. I won't be your sitter, unless I agree. I won't be your card. We can still be family, but it has to be fair. Mom leaned back, crossed her arms. We raised you to help, Henry. You raised me to disappear, I said. Quietly. Not cruelly. Just true. She flinched. Not enough. My sister stared at the paper like it might bite. $500 a month, she said. For how long? Until it's done, I replied. We can set up automatic transfers, so we don't have to fight about it every month. She laughed. A shredded, bitter sound. We don't have $500. You have lash appointments, I said. Then I took a breath. Sorry, that was mean. But let's be real. If you can't afford $500, you can't afford first class. You can downgrade that. And pay your brother. Her eyes flashed. Don't tell me how to live. Then don't spend my money to do it. The air in that room was thick. My old fridge hummed. An upstairs neighbor's kid thumped across the ceiling, keeping time with my impatience. Mom's voice softened then, a trick I knew by heart. Henry, we're just trying to survive. So am I said. I'm not shaming you. I'm saying I won't go broke to keep you comfortable. My sister's jaw worked. What if we start at $200 for 3 months? Then $400, then $500. I nodded. That's a start. She stared at the paper for a long, long time. Then she did the smallest, bravest thing I'd ever seen her do. She reached for the pen. She signed. She didn't look at me while she did it. She looked at the table, like the wood itself was judging her. My mom didn't sign. She pushed the paper back with one finger, like it had germs. I'm not part of this. You're part of the insults, I said. No more earn the right talk. Ever. If I hear it again, I leave the conversation. Every single time. She stood up, like a verdict. You children think you invented boundaries. We called them respect. Then respect me, I said. She left without slamming the door. My sister lingered. I'll try, she said. It sounded like a dare she was giving herself. I believed her. Not because of the pen, but because of the way her eyes looked when she said it. Tired, but ready. The first of the month, the first transfer hit my account. $200. With 3 emojis in the caption. No words. I screenshotted it anyway, put it in receipts. Not to hold it over her, but to remind myself. Change can be small, but it's still change. 2 weeks later, my sister texted, "Can you watch the kids Saturday? 10 to 1. I'll pay you $60 and bring food." I read it twice. Money. Notice. And in time. I grinned at my phone like a maniac in the break room. My reply? Yes. 10 to 1. She showed up at 9:55 a.m. Bag of breakfast tacos. A wrinkled 20 and 2 tens, which she counted out like rent. I almost said, "Don't worry about it." I didn't. I took the cash. Put it in a jar by the microwave, labeled Kid Chaos Fund. It felt weird. And it felt right. The kids were amazing for 2 hours. And then, for 1 hour, they were utterly feral. At 1:03, she was back, breathless, cheeks pink, holding a receipt from the nail place. A fill, not a full set. Progress. She hugged me, quick and a little awkward. Thanks. After they left, my apartment smelled like syrup and victory. I cleaned the couch with real cleaner. Opened the window. I didn't feel used. I felt like an uncle. That night, Mom posted a quote on Facebook about honoring parents. No names. I didn't take the bait. I watched a movie and didn't share my login. At work, I stopped volunteering for every emergency shift. I told my assistant manager to take the lead on the end cap reset, then I actually let her. She nailed it. I took a Saturday night and went to a minor league baseball game. By myself. Ate an overpriced hot dog. Sent a picture of the fireworks to nobody in particular. Sometimes the emptiness came, but it didn't drown me. I wrote. I cooked. I slept. 1 month turned to 2. The transfers kept coming. Sometimes late. Sometimes split in 2. Sometimes with a sorry attached. Sometimes with nothing at all. Each time, I just sent a thumbs up emoji. Not no problem. Not all good. Just a small, green light that we were still on the road. And when I saw a sale on kids' shoes at my store, I texted my sister a photo and a code. If you want, I can ring it with my employee discount. You can pay me later, or not. Your call. She sent back a picture of the middle kid doing a thumbs up, so big it covered half his face. I didn't cry. My eyes just watered a little. Probably because I'd been cutting onions. I don't even like onions. One evening, Mom called. I stared at the ID, like it might do tricks. I answered. She didn't ask for money. She didn't apologize. She just said, "Your Aunt Elma's birthday is Sunday. Come." It would mean a lot to her. I waited for the hook. There wasn't one. Okay, I said. I'll swing by after my shift. When I walked in, Mom handed me a plate of food before she handed me a lecture. Progress. She didn't say, "Earn the right." She didn't say, "Man of the house." She talked about the weather, and church, and the neighbor's cat. When I left, she stood at the door, like she wanted to say something else, but didn't. In the car, my phone buzzed. A text from her. 2 words. Thank you. I put it in receipts. Not the folder. My heart. Closure, you know? It wasn't fireworks. No dramatic cliff. No swelling music. It was just making coffee and having enough. Phone on do not disturb at 10 p.m. Real sleep until the alarm. Saying yes when I meant yes. No when I meant no. No long essays attached. There are still slips. Mom posts a quote on Facebook about children who forget. I don't bite. I do laundry instead. That's a boundary, too. My sister still calls. Drop everything. I say, I can do 6 to 8. $20 an hour. She groans. Then says, okay, see you at 6. I don't love charging family, but I love that she stopped taking without asking. We're changing. It's messy. It's real. The kids call me hen. My place turns to joyful chaos for a few hours. And after the quiet, it's good. I keep the family sheet, now, as a kind of windlock. First repayment. Sister brought food. Mom asked about my life with no request attached. On my fridge, that park photo of her. Her hand, studying, not taking over. That's my role now. A hand, not a wallet. Love, I've learned, is choosing what I give, and trusting others to carry theirs. Respect isn't earned by obeying. It's baseline, and rebuilt, brick by painful brick, by change. I'm not their sitter. I'm their brother. A manager who finally knows his limits. I didn't do revenge. I did paperwork. Passwords. A printed page that finally marks where I end, and they begin. Slowly, a new kind of family showed up. Awkward. Less guilty. More honest. And me? I'm here. At a cheap lake cabin. Bad coffee. Good silence. Phone face down. The water moving. Boundaries are quiet. That's the point. Have you ever had a moment where you realized you needed to set firm boundaries, even with family? What did you do? Tell me in the comments. I really want to know.